Hi, I'm Fiona from My Accessible website. The WCAG guidelines are long, complicated and pretty confusing at times. In this guide I'm going to demystify them and explain what the difference is between the three different WCAG levels. These are the WCAG guidelines, which are pretty much the universal standard used to measure the accessibility of a website. Websites are evaluated based on whether they meet certain criteria, such as this one, Criterion 1.1.1, Non-Text Content. Each of the criteria have a level, and this one is Level A. So there's Level A, Level AA, and Level AAA. The idea is that each level gets progressively harder to meet. It's much easier to get a website to conform to Level A than it is Level AAA. As you saw earlier, there are many success criteria that make up the WCAG guidelines. At Level A, there are 25 criteria that you have to meet. Level AA has another 13 criteria. To meet WCAG Level AA, your website has to pass all of the Level A criteria and then all of the Level AA ones in addition. This takes the total required for Level AA to 38. Level AAA adds a further 23 criteria, bringing you to a grand total of 61 criteria to pass. Let's look at a few examples of success criteria at the different levels. We'll look at examples that dictate the use of colour on our website, starting with Level A. At Level A, we have to ensure that colour is not the only means of conveying information. That means we can't present the user with a load of unlabelled different coloured buttons and ask them to press the green one. It sounds simple enough, but you have to be careful with the use of things like data charts, because you can't use colour alone to identify a series or trend. Let's see what additional requirements come in at Level AA. You have to meet some colour contrast requirements. There are lots of online tools to check this, but the rules are fairly strict. The average website's going to have some problems with contrast and needs some of the colours adjusting to meet this Level AA requirement. Let's look at some examples of colour contrast between text and background to see this in practice. So these three pass the Level AA contrast requirement. These other ones quite clearly don't, as they're hard to read. But what about the remaining two? Personally, I can read these okay, and I see examples like this pretty often on websites. So this one doesn't pass, and neither does this one actually, so it's pretty strict. Moving on to Level AAA, the colour contrast requirements become much stricter, to the point where it becomes quite difficult to style a site to look good. Almost all coloured text fails. Here are our results from the Level AA criterion. At Level AAA, this one's now a failure. At this level, it really only allows white text on very dark backgrounds or black text on very light. So knowing the difficulty level, which should you be aiming for with your website? The majority of websites will be trying to meet Level AA, and this is what I'd recommend. Where websites legally have to be accessible, it depends on the specific laws, but it tends to mean that they have to meet Level AA. Level A is generally regarded as not being quite sufficient to meet most users' needs. Level AAA tends to be met by more specialised sites, a charity for the blind, for example. Let's look at an example. This website has passed 90% of the Level A criteria, 40% of Level AA, and 10% of Level AAA. So which WCAG level does it meet overall? None of them. You have to meet every single one of the criteria at a level to be able to state that the website has that level of accessibility. It doesn't matter that this website even has some of the more advanced criteria, it does not meet WCAG Level A. I don't want that to put you off making improvements to the accessibility of your website though. Each new criterion passed makes your website easier to use. If this was the current picture and you rolled out this update, you're still not meeting any WCAG level, but you're making important progress and users will notice and benefit from it. That brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more content. If you're interested in learning more, I'm putting together a course on the entirety of the WCAG guidelines over on my website, so I'll pop a link in the description below for you to take a look.